All right. Microphone's on. Cool.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So welcome back. I hope you went to the toilet.
All right. So I wanted to show you just a few more things. Show you scaling and logs and that sort of thing before we dive into the next part. So real quick, I noticed over the break that the Vivid River application on Heroku is getting a lot of people now accessing it, checking out this awesome application on Heroku. So I needed to actually scale it up to handle the load. So let me show you how to do that. I just type Heroku Scale web equals, and now I can tell it how many web dynos I want running this application. The requests will automatically be load balanced across all the dynos that are allocated. So if I want to scale up to like 5 dynos now, our count is going to be billed. Now we're going past that free one. So yeah, it's a good thing I put in my credit card number. But now it's starting up. We had 1 dyno running. Now we're adding 4 more to get to 5 dynos.
So that's okay. You can all access our super website.
We can use Heroku PS. We'll see that it's still starting those 4 new ones up, and it'll be up and running here in just a second. So while we're waiting for those to finish starting up, I can do Heroku Logs -T. And with this, I can see all the requests that are coming into my application. So everything that goes through the load balancer on Heroku will come in here. And then all the standard out from all of the dynos will also come to this central logging place. So I have this great place to see everything that's going on. So let's go back to the browser real quick and just refresh this a few times. So what we'll see is if we make a few requests, of course, we're not seeing anything different in the browser, but these requests are actually being sent to the different dynos. So we'll see here, one went to Web 4, one went to Web 3, one went to Web, let's see, 2. So it's automatically dispersing these requests across all those. Heroku doesn't support sticky sessions, which we think are generally a bad thing because it makes you do bad things with state. And so this is one of the things why Play Framework works so well on Heroku, is that you don't need sticky sessions because it's a stateless web framework.
That's ménage à trois.
The ménage à trois, exactly. Okay, so I want to start with that just so you can get an idea of how that works. Let me now start the Play server back up so we can go back into the code. Where's Twiddle on this? Twiddle run. There we go. Okay. Okay, let's hop back into the code.
Yeah, so now I think it's time to work on our CFP application. So to do a call for paper, what do we need? I guess we need to have speaker who submit docs.
We need a Stefan Jensen object in the database, because he approves all the requests.
So let's start with creating a model object. So we'll just use a speaker object, We'll just put it in the package model because it's really simple and easy. And yeah, so it's called speaker.
So we're going to use just the standard ebean here to use for our database persistence. So this will just be plain old Java objects with ebean behind them for the persistence engine talking to a database. So we'll configure the database in a minute, but there's a few things that we're doing on the speaker object. First, we're extending the model class. You don't have to do it that way, but it's going to bring a lot of convenience methods with it. We'll see those used in just a minute. You'll see that we're using the standard Java X persistence entity and Java X persistence ID. So this looks pretty typical to Hibernate or JPA. So our speaker has an ID, of course. The speaker has a name and a bio. Yeah. So we could, do whatever we want to on this the speaker object.
That will be enough. Now, how about we will test a bit that? What we'll do is we'll do that on the index. What we'll do is trying to display a bit this new speaker. Let's create. It's just to show you that it's really easy to have something quickly. So here we'll create a list of speakers and we'll display them. Speakers.
So eBean has a nice finder system built into it, so we can use the finders in eBean to do pretty complex queries and those sorts of things. We're not going to do queries yet.
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
So,
sorry, not yet.
But I will add it. So
first, we're just going to display a speaker.
Yeah, it's just easy to so we can
creating a new list of speakers. Array list. That's good. Of type E. And import our classes. So this is just going to be for testing, just so that we can get a list of speakers just stubbed out and then pass those into the template and then render the list of speakers on the web page. So let's create a new speaker.
So we need a new constructor.
So we're going to have two constructors. We're going to have a noargs constructor and then a constructor that allows to pass in a name and a bio. So so that'll be an easy way to create these speakers. Okay. Tell us if we have any coding errors. This is like massive pair programming. If you see anything wrong, definitely yell it out. Oh, and by the way, where'd my bottle cap go? My bottle cap opener. If you steal my bottle cap opener, you owe me a beer. So I don't see it.
Okay, so
Somebody owes me a beer.
Speaker. So James, he is born in.
That's my bio. I was born in question mark. Okay.
Speakers. Add.
So in a minute, we'll create the web form to add new speakers, but now we just want to test this out, just doing standard Java stuff. Nikolai. Okay, and your bio is, he is awesome. Okay. So we've got our list of speakers. Now we want to send this list of speakers to our template, for our template to render them.
Yeah, so we should do that actually.
Let's send those to the render method. Now you'll see we're getting an error there because our template is taking a string parameter. So if we were to try to hit this in the browser again, we'd see the compiler in the browser saying, hey, your types don't match between the template and what you're trying to pass it. So now let's change it so that this template takes the list of speakers. So we can do that. That's great.
And now we have the list of speakers, so we need to iterate to it. So
now we're going to use the Scala templating language here to iterate through the list of speakers that we get, and then just display each of the list of speakers on the page. So this is the Scala language there to do the for loop for the list of speakers.
Speaker.name.
Okay, and we'll render the bio.
Bio.
All right, good typing. All right, let's try it out. Any coding errors before we go forward?
Yeah.
Anybody notice any coding errors?
Maybe we should remove. This one, you mean?
Application. There it is, right there.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. The massive pair programming works. Awesome.
And do we want to create a new route? Yeah, maybe we do something like. We change it to speakers.
Okay. So now we'll get our list of speakers when we get a GET request to /speakers. So let's go try it out.
Speakers.
There we go. All right. So there's our speakers.
Very cool. We can continue now.
So our Java bean works, but we're not actually like saving these into a database. We're not we don't have a form yet to create these. So let's go and create a way to actually add new speakers into the database.
So let's take again this one, I guess, and this time we'll create a form. Let's do that. Yeah? I do not remember if it was the plan, but
so we're just going to do a regular old form for this one. We go find my cheat sheet. So So this is where we can use the reverse routing in Play 2 to get that action. So we need to know where to submit this to. But before we define that, we need to set up a new route that's going to handle the post from the form. But first, we'll finish creating this the body of this form. So 2 input fields here. We're going to have one for the name and then one for the bio for the speaker.
Okay, what is really important in Play is this name. This will tell him to map it automatically. We'll see it in the controller to the speaker object.
So that has to correspond to the parameter name on our value object that we're using on the server side. So then we'll do another one for bio. This one will be named, of course, bio. And then we'll have a submit button.
That's about it, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we need to fill in that action, but before we do that, we need to create a new route to handle this post. So let's do a post handler in the route file for
speakers, let's say.
Speakers. Okay, so if we get a post to speakers, then let's call a new method here on controller.
And we'll call it.
The spacing doesn't really matter, but both Nicola and I are very anal about our spacing. And if you put tabs in this file, kittens will die, is what I heard. So don't put tabs in there.
Okay, so now let's create method, create speakers. So here, of course, first before I modify everything, I will go back and clean my mess. Here we don't have any parameters, and here we'll remove all that. Yeah, it's clean. Okay. Static result.
So this one's called create speaker.
And now what we have to get is actually the parameters from our form. So this is done. We will create a form.
In Play 1, there was this kind of built-in implicit binding from form or request parameters to value objects. And in Play 2, we actually do this more explicitly. There's a benefit of doing this instead of just the implicit way of doing it. If you may have noticed in the news recently, GitHub had a vulnerability that was due to Rails and how Rails does automatic parameter binding. So doing it more explicitly is actually a good thing. We like doing it this way just to make sure that we're mapping the right thing from the request parameters, and this allows us to not fall into those types of vulnerabilities. I've heard that Grails has these sorts of vulnerabilities as well because they do this automatic binding from request parameters to objects. But okay. So the way that we do that is we use this form method. We tell it what our class that we want to map to is, and we tell it to bind the parameters from the current request into the form.
And then we do speaker.
And now we can actually get our speaker out of this form. So to do that, we just call speakerform.get. And now we've got our speaker that came from the request parameters. Now we can just call save on that. So that save method came from extending the model class. So because we extended model, we now get that save method. So now we want to say, all right, we're okay, everything's saved.
Okay. So what shall we display? Something like thank you for submitting.
Sure.
Yeah. So we create a new template for that.
So now we're going to create a new template. And this is what we'll send people to after they've added themselves as new speakers.
So yeah, we'll say.
So this one we're calling registered.scala.html. Sorry, that font on the left side is kind of hard to read in the back, but this is just a new template in the app views directory called registered.scala.html.
For submitting.
You're doing a great job typing, by the way.
Thank you. Your bio.
Okay.
And I guess we want to display again the same information.
Sure. So let's also in this template, we're going to display just a summary of what they submitted. So as a parameter of this template, are we going to take a speaker?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll take the speaker. And then we'll just down here display the speaker's name and bio.
No details.
Here are details. So new unordered list with a list item of speaker.name, and then another one of speaker.bio. I can talk faster than you can type. Is that normal?
I don't know. And he's trying to deconcentrate me as well.
You can get me back when I have to type.
And that's it, huh?
Okay, so now we need to render that template. So back in application.java, we need to render that template when we've successfully created a new speaker. So registered.render, and then we're going to send it that speaker.
Yep.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Any coding errors? Pair programming? Did we do anything wrong? Okay.
Everyone follows?
Look good?
Yeah? It's not really hard for now. What are the URLs now?
Speakers.
Speakers.
Okay, so there's our form. And so now we enter the speaker name and the speaker bio.
I should have put a text field. Huh?
Yeah, text area, text input. You just have to have a very small bio. Okay.
There's a program.
And play, very helpfully, gives us an error.
It's fantastic, huh? You don't have to look at the log or anything. Nice, huh? Okay, so we'll fix
So
the
it's saying, hey, we don't have a data source.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go
So
configure a data source.
Oh, yeah. Do you
So
know what it is?
in the Play app, there is a conf directory and then an application.conf file, and this is where we configure our data sources. So there's not one configured by default. There in Play 1, I think there was an in-memory one configured by default. Play 2, we're not doing that anymore. We're trying to, no more magic. So you actually have to tell it what you want for your default data source. So we're going to use an in-memory H2 database, and then we're telling eBean to look for its entities in the models package. So use all the entities in the models package.
Okay, so let's refresh. Okay.
So now it's saying, hey, we need an evolution. So in Play, you can turn it off, but by default, you have to explicitly do your database evolutions. Oh, sorry, small.
Thank you.
Thank you. He's even in the front row.
Yeah.
Okay. So probably bad for the people in the back row. Okay. So what happened automatically, switch over to Eclipse real quick, is that eBean and Play automatically created a default database evolution for us. So show the evolution in the conf directory. So you'll see in the conf directory, you probably can't see it if you're in back, but there's now this new 1.sql file that was created automatically for us based on the bean definition that we defined. So the reason why we're doing these explicit database evolutions is that it was very hard to manage schema migrations when you're doing this auto schema stuff that Hibernate can do for you. So now we're doing more explicit evolutions in Play 2. This is a good thing. It has the SQL here. The SQL is being created for us for the initial kind of version of our schema, but then we would need to actually manage our schema going forward as we make changes to this. If we wanted to add a new field to speaker after we've deployed this to a production system, we would have 2.sql that would alter the table, add the new field, and that's really the right way to do this. We have ups and downs, so you can go up to a new version, down to the previous version, and you can run these evolutions from the command line if you're running on a production system, because you don't want your web users to see that UI that we just saw for doing the evolution.
Okay, so let's apply the script now.
Okay. So now that ran that SQL script, it ran the up script to get up to version 1 of the schema, and so now we have our schema. We can go in and add in our new speaker and submit, and there we go. So that submit did a post. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we mapped the request parameters to through the form to the value object, saved the value object, passed the new speaker out to the template. That template then rendered, and there we go.
So now we'll what do we do? Oh yeah, I think we
And
will.
notice we didn't restart any servers, right? No restarts, no redeploys, no recreating war files, none of that. You know, this is all, it's recompiling the configuration, it's recompiling all this stuff on the fly.
Okay, so now what we will do is actually also tell the speaker that he can add a proposal. Because otherwise having the view of the speaker, but if we don't know what they're talking about, it's not really interesting.
Yep. So we have to have each speaker can have 0 to many proposals. So now we're going to add in a new model. We wanted to show you something more than just a single model application here. So that's why we're going to do a proposal object as well.
So same things.
So like you've seen before, just to get it to stick in your head, we extend model, we do the @entity on here, and then this will have a ID property, just like you saw before. And then let's have a title, a proposal title. So that'll be a string.
And a summary.
And a summary. Okay, let's do the @ID on the ID property there.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we're going to do a bidirectional relationship between the proposal and the speaker. So let's add that in here. So this will be the many to one side of this relationship.
Okay.
Okay. So now back in our speaker, let's create the other side of the relationship. So we'll in here have a list of proposals. And then that will be called proposals. And that'll be we'll initialize that as a new array list of proposal. I think you'd be doing half the amount of typing if you're using IntelliJ, by the way.
Yeah. I'm not actually. I'm really not used to Eclipse. So.
Okay. So now we need to define the one to many on this one. And we need to set a few parameters on this. So we're going to tell it to do an eager fetch. So we're going to set the fetch to be eager, so that we'll automatically load these. We're not going to do any lazy loading on these ones. So set the fetch type to eager, and then we're also going to tell it what it's mapped by. So mapped by with a capital B. All right, there you go. And then one more, we want to do a cascade to tell it to automatically persist these proposals when we add them. So we're going to do a cascade type all. Okay. Oh, no semicolon. There you go. Okay. So we've got our proposals from our speaker. Any problems with the code? I'll buy you a beer if you. Actually, somebody, I owe you a beer because you pointed out that one. So. All right.
So now let's change our form, I guess.
Yep.
So
we're going to do this the easy way. We just want to get you to see a little bit more about how we do the form binding. But the easy way to do this is just to add these parameters for creating proposals into the same form. So let's create a new one for the so we type text and then the name for this one. This is where we're going to do something a little bit tricky. Is we want to actually map this into the right place. So we're going to do basically create a new proposal on this thing and set the title. So this is one way to do it. Probably not the recommended approach, but good enough for a quick demo, right? And then we'll have the summary. Do you want to do a text area for that one?
Yeah.
Okay. And then this will have a name of, again, proposal 0, and then summary. Proposals. There we go. Good catch. And summary.
So let's see. We have everything. Let's go back.
So again, play is saying, hey, your ebean entity changed. It regenerated a new 1.SQL for us, and now we're going to apply the script. There we go. Now we see our beautiful form there. Oop, we got a little HTML error. We have to close that text area.
Maybe we
Okay.
should put some BR of it.
Clean that up a little bit,
Yeah.
make it nice and pretty.
We'll later on make it nice and
So in a little bit, we're going to get to applying Twitter Bootstrap to make this look wonderful and pretty. But yeah, is the font too small? The actual HTML is not type checked.
No.
It's just the Scala within the templates is checked. It would be cool if we could type check the HTML, wouldn't it? Too hard? HTML is too loose.
Blah. Oh, something that maybe I should also is when you register.
Yeah. Let's also tell it to display those.
Yeah.
So back here, let's do the let's get out the speakers proposals. So we're gonna have to iterate through those proposals though, right? Because it's so let's do a for loop in here. Iterate through the speaker.proposals, and you need an @ sign in front of that one.
Thank you.
So we'll take the speaker.proposals, we'll iterate through those proposals, and then output them. So this will be proposal.title, and then proposal.summary. All right. Okay. So let's try it out.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. So what we're seeing is this one is the proposal, right?
I was not really clever.
Proposal,
Put blah blah everywhere, so
not the best UI. Yeah. Proposal title, proposal summary, and this is your bio, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just to verify there.
So what's the next step? I think
Okay.
we want to.
Next step. Let's see. Let's take a look at the notes.
Yeah.
We need to.
To improve a bit our application.
Let's go back to the slides real quick.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, we're going to check where we are in the scheme of things. Okay, so what we're going to do next is add some validation and talk about template composition and that sort of thing. Yeah. So right now, it's great, our app works, but we've got like no validation at all. So we want to fix that. We want to fix the validation. We also want to fix the UI because Stefan would never let us use this as the Call for Papers app the way it looks now, right? Let's start with the validation.
Let's do that.
Okay.
So validation are really easy. Basically, what I will say is this field is mandatory, required. The bio is also required, and I guess we want also on the proposal everything required.
So there's more validations than just required, right?
But for it,
for this example, we're just going to do required. But can we like code hint on the constraints thing there and see what the different ones are? So
emails, max, min,
min, max,
patterns. Yeah. So you can do and you can create your own. Basically, it's really easy.
Cool. Yeah. Question.
Why don't you use the validation API instead of we are using the
This is a validation API.
because the annotation is we have our own annotation.
But you,
To set up standard messages, but this is fully standard GSM
you can reuse the existing annotation.
So we just extended the 303 validations to provide some messages, default messages in those. Is that okay?
Okay, so let's go back.
Okay, so now
we need to validate actually.
we need to actually run our validator when we call that create speaker.
Because I don't think that we want to. So here, the speaker form actually can tell us if it's valid or not.
So we're going to check, does the speaker form have errors? If so, let's return a bad request.
Oh yeah, that's not good request. And we want to render the same view, I suppose.
So we're going to then render that index page, the one that has the form on it, again. So it'll be a bad request, and the browser will then re-render the index page.
Let's see that. Okay, so don't feel anything. And fantastic. There is a validation error, the same part is, but it's not really nice because
Right.
we don't really see any error. So.
We didn't tell the user what was actually wrong. We told them that something was wrong because it didn't add it, but let's now go and actually add a way in the template to see the validation errors.
I think the best is to pass the speaker form, actually.
So we should pass that speaker form in. We should probably also pass it in the index one there too, right? We'll create a new form there and pass it in.
We'll just create a new form.
You can just pass it directly.
Yeah, true. But you know that I like to type.
Form. Form speaker class. Okay. So what we're doing is we're actually passing the form object to the template. So we're going to have to go change the index template to take a form parameter. But the reason why we want that is now we can get the errors, get the information about the actual form logic, the actual validation errors out of this thing. So we created just a default form which shouldn't have any errors in it for when we go directly to the index page. But when we go to the index page and have a speaker form that came in from a post, then we'll have potentially those errors.
You a bit done. So now what I want to do is using the speaker form, show the error if there is one. So if
Okay.
basically name as error, is it correct? Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
Okay, so a little Scala. If the name part of the speaker form has errors, then we're going to display that error.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Maybe? Guillaume's shaking his head.
No, yeah, it's just, it's not, I have to. Yeah. Speaker form dot name. What's the next one? Yeah, after it's basically we'll refactor all this to, and the plan is. Oh, I know I show you exactly how it's coded in detail, but after, of course, you have plenty of helper for that. Yeah. So
dot error dot get dot message. Okay, so we're getting the error message for that field.
I think that's correct.
Yeah, let's try that out and see if it works. So submit again.
Yeah.
And
no.
Oh, somebody could have gotten a beer right there. Somebody could have gotten a beer.
If
move that. Yep. Okay.
And no space. Yeah.
Who gets the beer? Who said that? Somebody? Somebody said.
Okay. Yeah, there is a little problem.
There we go.
Thank you.
Let's see the actual message. Okay.
Error required. Okay.
Error not required. Kind of in the wrong place, but now you see that the message is showing up in the template.
Okay. Let's try to make that a bit more beautiful, I think.
Yep. Let's make that more beautiful.
So I have actually prepared something.
So so we're going to cheat a little bit. There's this HTML gets a bit verbose, so we're going to just copy and paste the larger, more prettified HTML into here.
So first, I will copy the CSS on the image.
So we've got some CSS. It's using Twitter Bootstrap, and we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. But we're using that to make it pretty. And then we also have a prettier version of this template that we're going to use instead of this basic one that we just coded up.
No,
so you'll see in this, we've got a bunch of divs. We'll see this in Eclipse here in a second. But we're also going to do some sexy stuff with HTML5 client-side validations as well.
Yeah, so here what I say is required to.
So that's a HTML5 feature to be able to do required validations actually on the client side in the browser without having to write JavaScript to do that. So that's a new feature in HTML5's new form tags.
This is not a good one, so about that. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, yeah, we'll get all this.
Okay.
Okay, so up, so this is our name. Let's do that for.
So one other thing that you'll see in here is that there's actually an if statement now in the div. You want to point out the if statement in the div real quick?
Yeah.
Yep. So we actually now are telling this div to have an if statement that can display errors. It knows how to display errors within the div if they exist.
So here is just a class we will set to error, so we'll see something red.
So we're setting a new error class on the div if there is an error on that field.
Okay.
So you'll see how that works with Twitter Bootstrap. Just a second.
What do I want to do? Bio.
So this one will be
Text.
Bio.
Yeah, thanks. Here we'll do proposal
and
title.
proposal title. And then one for the proposal summary.
Yeah, and I need to change to text area as well. So as you can see, there is a lot of duplication. And the next step will actually be to remove all this duplication. And yeah, the idea is not good.
So it's good that HTML has been the most coding, most verbose part of this. The play stuff is easy. HTML. If you could just make writing HTML easy too, that would be great. That's next. That's version 3.
And
okay.
And yeah, text area for the bio as well.
We'll convert that bio to a text area. And
I think that's it, no?
any coding errors? Uh-oh. Go down to summary. This one.
Thank you.
There, summary. Owe you a beer. Okay. Any others? Value attribute. Oh, there is no value attribute on text area.
Yeah.
That just goes in the body.
That just goes in the body.
Owe you a beer. So good. I wish that every day in my life I could have like a bunch of people. You know, how many are 50 people pair programming with me? I feel like I'd get a lot more done.
Same thing, yeah.
Okay.
I guess that's okay now. Can we remove everything?
Okay. Now we'll clean up our form, and if we get lucky, let's
let me
give
see,
it a try.
Let me look at my little.
Oh yeah, let's put in the pretty version of the button too. So we'll.
You have to close the field set tag.
Nice catch. Field set. Wow, how did you see that? This guy is amazing.
This is why he's.
Field set.
Okay, did I forget something? Yeah, placeholder for.
Believe me, this is worth the wait. You're going to be so blown away.
And the last thing is.
We need a label.
Everyone is sleeping.
It just won't look good without the label.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
We really got to get this to Stefan standards.
Up. So this is answer you summary, and we need another one.
And let's do a label for the bio as well. And enter your bio. No placeholder on that one?
No, I think it's okay. And how did I placeholder?
Okay, let's try it out. I think it's good.
Oh.
All right, look at that. Look at that beautiful form. Wasn't that worth the wait?
Hey.
Cool.
So, yeah, cool,
So
huh?
this is using Twitter Bootstrap to actually take all of these elements on the page and apply some CSS to them to make them look nice and pretty. You also see that this validation error here, that is from HTML5's validation because we tagged that input field and said required equals true. That's actually client-side validation. We didn't have to do any JavaScript to make that happen with HTML5. So that's cool.
Let's remove it.
Let's remove that required equals true, so we don't do the client-side validation, because we want to actually see the server side do the validation. You can do it both ways, but it's probably good to validate both on the client side and on the server side. But just for demo purposes, we're just going to do the server side validation, so you can see how with Twitter Bootstrap we add that error class to the divs to make the form notice. So you can notice when there's validation errors on the server as well.
I think that's good. No required. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let's do that.
Okay, let's do. All right. So this was Twitter Bootstrap now doing those validations or displaying the validation errors. Of course, the validation, it did do a round trip to the server. The server said bad request. And then in the template, we added the error CSS class. And then Twitter Bootstrap made them nice and red and told us that there was a problem.
Okay. I think we're ready.
Okay.
So let's submit something.
Let's submit a new proposal.
Mabio.
What are you going to talk about? What's your proposal?
Heroku.
Heroku. All right. Doing a Heroku talk. Awesome.
Scaling.
Okay.
Done with Heroku.
Scaling down. We don't care about scaling up. Okay. Register. And there we go. You're registered. Cool.
Sure. Not
Okay.
bad, huh?
So that's adding validation. One thing we should point out real quick is the composition.
Yeah,
the composition.
this is,
let's see the
let's see
composition
that.
part. So one way that we could make this a lot easier is to use composition in Play2's templates.
Basically, what we will. So this is an example, or this is Twitter helper element from Play, where you can use that directly in your template. And instead of putting all this code, it will every time reuse this template and put it for you.
So this is kind of like JSP tag libs, but like 100 times better. Okay? It allows us to reuse essentially snippets of HTML, pass parameters to those snippets, and render them. So we could have taken using this kind of approach, we could have taken what we just wrote that was 50 lines of code and made it like 4 lines of code.
This is an example from the Play sample directory. And here you can, for example, see how these helper are used. Here I will render an input text, for example.
So pretty simple to now compose HTML together to create pages.
Alors.
Oh.
Merci. Yeah. So these tags, actually, you can define your own and reuse them everywhere you want. The the templating system know how to find them, to render them.
So Play2 has some of these built in, and you can use those. You can also, of course, write your own.
We won't do that today because I spent like half an hour just now to duplicate everything. So we'll let someone else send a pull request.
That's right. Somebody could do a pull request to fix this up, and
then we will have. Okay, so what do we do now?
What do we do now?
Let's look at our slides, I think, because we were clever and we put everything on our slides. So.
Let's just skip on to.
Shall we deploy it, or
let's skip on to the next part.
Yeah.
Well, and then maybe at the end we'll do that.